Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Chattanooga. My name is the Reverend Mandy Goheen, and it is my great honor to serve this community in this time when we reflect on Thanksgiving, what we have to be grateful for, and what we have inside us to give away. Welcome. Welcome if you've never been here before or this is your 100th time. Welcome if you're full of energy or weary to the bone. Welcome if you love Thanksgiving or, like me, you secretly tolerate Thanksgiving. It is a time of family and challenge, and it is a time we're also challenged by receiving. That's kind of tricky. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. In Unitarian Universalist congregations, got to turn the clicker on. There we go. In Unitarian Universalist congregations, communities, board meetings, all the things, we light a chalice. We light a chalice because it represents the beginning of our special time together set aside to deepen into what we call liberal religion. And I would like to invite Tim and Christine to come forward and light our chalice as we say the chalice lighting words. In the light of truth, in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. Thank you. We'll see them again later. I have a feeling. So it's a time in the service where you are invited, if you like this kind of thing, to rise and greet your neighbors. Wait a minute. Rise and greet your neighbors. If you do not love that practice, you can just sit in your seat and smile and wave. If you don't like hugs, you can do elbow bumps. If you love hugs, you can open your arms. This is a time of gathering and greeting, almost as important as lighting the chalice, because what happens when we greet each other, we create beloved community here and now. So after we have said our hellos to each other, we'll begin singing our opening song, which is Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire, and this is a very little type on my number 34, but we'll have the words up here too. So I invite you all, if you are comfortable, to rise and greet your neighbors. there we go. So it's time for our Time for All Ages, and I would invite anybody who needs to see a video better to move up here. I'm going to talk for a minute, but we're mostly watching something super cool. So we talked about Thanksgiving last week, and I want to talk about Thanksgiving again today.
And my birthday's on Thanksgiving.
Your birthday's on Thanksgiving. Who else has a birthday this month? All right, so happy birthday to all of us November babies. We're awesome, right? And all the other months are awesome too. But it is our, we have, who has noticed there's some words on the front of the church before we even walk in on the window? The Unitarian Universalist Church of Chattanooga seems like enough words to be on the front, but it is not all the words. We have something called a land acknowledgement on the front of the church, and the land acknowledgement is exactly that. It acknowledges that this land was someone else's and people lived here. So our land acknowledgement is that the Muskogee and the Cherokee and the Yuchi lived here, and that this place, actually in Chattanooga, Tennessee, is something quite important to recognize. This is the headwater of the Trail of Tears. And remember last week our story was who wasn't at the table? Well, this week at 4 o'clock at Pilgrim Congregational Church, everyone is invited to come to a Thanksgiving service. And I've been asked to do the land acknowledgement. So I don't know if I noticed that I'm white, but I am. And doing the land acknowledgement can be a little awkward. So what I thought would be cool for them and cool for all of us is to hear something called the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving Address, which really leans into the spirit of Thanksgiving, not just one time a year, but every time they gather for anything. So this is a really sweet, cool video. I love that it has embarrassed teenagers in it, because I can imagine that I would have been embarrassed too to be doing this video. But in their own words, they explain why this is the real Thanksgiving address. So please enjoy the video. I will not step on the label.
Agwegwaska Drua Wet Nuni, Negon Nagula, the Nadatino Ladus, Ne Ungwesu Antonia Duha, Negon Nagula, To.
Agwegwaska did Wawe Nuni, Nangonigo, the Nadatino Lados, Ne Yukinista Haji Hanjade, Dano Onegwasu, Dano Gojasu, Tony Duha, Nangonigo, To.
Agwegwaska de Wawe Nuni, Deatino Lados, Ne Ohandesu, Nuklasu, Dano Telasu, Tony Duha, Nangonigo, To.
Agwegwaska Drua Wet Nuni, Negon Nagula, the Daintilo Ladus, Ne Gunhekwa, Gahi Sua, Uji. Nua Sua, Tania Duhak, Neguat Nagula, To.
Agwegwaska, did the Wawe Nuni, and Guanagun, then a day to Nulane, Gundelia, Ogilet Suan, and Ojida Ogun, Tony Duck, Naguanagun.
The Thanksgiving address is supposed to be done every morning and at the end of the day again, to give thanks every day to those things that are always there, that provide for you and things. Like the earth and the trees and the air, moon and the water, all your foods.
Pretty cool. What if we started every day singing and dancing about what we were grateful for? Wow, that would change things, wouldn't it? That'd be pretty awesome. And with that, I would love to have all of you join me in singing our Youth Down to Religious Education. You can, okay, all right. Or you can take it with you. This is a time where you are invited forward to light a candle. You're invited forward to light a candle for your joys this week, your heartache, your worry, and your celebrations. This is a place where those things that are on your heart are welcome threads of this community. And this is a container and a place where we give thanks for the fact that you were brave enough to share. So with that, I invite folks forward to light candles of joys and concerns. May you live a loved life. May you never diminish your mind or limit your heart. May you stand calm in wide moments between the sky that lifts you and the gravity that grounds you. May you let love unfurl you and then give it away. May you remember you are a nest, a harbor, and a garden. May you pass life forward so that which came before those before you and that which grows in those next to you go on to those who will follow you. May it be so. Oh, they're ahead of me with slides today. So okay, get the order of service out and look at the front of it, because that picture's so funny, of toilet paper. Who would have thought that toilet paper would be so relevant to our lives? But boy, did it become important for a while. Well, I mean, it's pretty important anyway. But boy, did it become important. In fact, thinking there wasn't enough created a space to be grateful for toilet paper, which we had always just kind of taken for granted, right? There were toilet paper hordes, and there were toilet paper shortages, and there were panicking, and there was no toilet paper. And who do you think benefited the most from there being no toilet paper? The companies who made the toilet paper. You see, last week we talked about a gift economy, and there is an enemy of a gift economy, and the enemy of that economy is scarcity. And actually, if you pull back and get like heady theoretical economist, Marxist, blah, 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 if you go all the way back there, scarcity is the product of capitalism. Let that sink in for a second. Not thinking you have enough means that a capitalist economic system is working. Okay? What did it feel like to not have enough during pandemic? It made us scared. It made us hoard things. Hoarding toilet paper. I think there was another one that was funny, like instant coffee for a little while, because everybody was making that fake instant coffee because they couldn't go to restaurants. Like they were doing this thing where you'd whip it with water. We did it 100 times at our house. And then suddenly, something that nobody particularly wanted 3 days ago was in short supply, and it made people think different and think that they might even need instant coffee even if they didn't like it. The impact of this is profound on us. I was going to take my children to a concert for a Christmas gift. It was a rock concert. It's cool. It's a band we all like. And they're just like total metal, anti-capitalist, blah, blah, blah. So I looked up how much tickets it would be, how much tickets would cost for a family of 7 to go to that concert. $10,000 for seats to listen to a band who hates capitalism. Wait a minute. I no longer, and it's easy to get mad at the band, right? Like, how dare you, like, tell me not to sell out, like, you know, all the things we think about punk rock music, and how dare you? And the thing is, it's not the bands that are doing that, and it's not Ticketmaster that's doing it. It's people who are profiting from scarcity, who go in and buy all the tickets first, and then make them $1,900 to see a metal show where I'm supposed to sit in a chair. Like, I might sit in the chair if it costs that much, right? Like, I don't know. Also, in a space where we think that that's a good value, capitalism and scarcity is winning. Now, I don't spend as much for Christmas on people as one of those tickets cost. We are not going. I'll sing those songs to my kids for free. Almost sure they won't appreciate it, but I would sing those to them for free. There is, what happens to me and my feelings about music I really love is I suddenly am put on opposite sides of them. You know, I am not feeling like the landowning class. I'm feeling like the worker, as Marx would say, right? Like, there's a difference. But I want to quote somebody who is a Quaker philosopher. He talks a lot about relationships. You probably have heard of him. His name is Parker Palmer. And in his book, Let Your Life Speak, he says this: daily I'm astonished at how readily I believe that something I need is in short supply. If I hoard possessions, it's because I believe there are not enough to go around. If I struggle with others over power, it's because I believe power is limited. If I become jealous in a relationship, it's because I believe when you get too much love, I might be shortchanged. The irony, often tragic, is that by embracing the scarcity assumption, we create the very scarcities we fear. If I hoard material goods, others will have too little, and I will never have enough. If I get jealous of someone I love, I'm likely to drive that person away. You see, the thing that also is the catch is there's two sides to giving. We talked about this a little bit last week. And I've heard a couple people come to me and say, I'm not the best receiver of a gift. I don't always, it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me feel like somebody wants something. We talked about that a little bit. There's a Buddhist thinker named Philip Moffat, and he talks about in Buddhism, the practice of dana or generosity liberates you from the feeling of separateness and alienation. I'm going to read that one more time. The Buddhist practice of dana or generosity liberates you from the feeling of separation and alienation. You see, the powers that be in the world where we live profit from us not collaborating our power, our money. They collaborate from blocking community, and the way they do it is with the scarcity stuff. If you don't think you have enough, it's really hard to share. Moffat goes on to telling how he was challenged by this. He says, my first great lesson in receiving generosity came long before I ever heard the word. As a teenager living in the Appalachian Mountains, I worked as a bag boy in a local supermarket. And I probably picked this article for the following sentence. To my consternation, love that word, it was the working poor who were most likely to give me tips, and they often seemed more needy than I was. I would either refuse the tip or sometimes slip the money back into one of the bags as I put them in the car. I felt quite proud about that until one very cold Christmas Eve when a man wearing a cheap, worn-out coat, worn-out clothes, and driving a beat-up old car filled with many wide-eyed, unkempt children insisted on giving me a large tip. I was embarrassed at the idea of taking money and flatly refused. He looked me straight in the eye and said, "This is something I can do for you. It is my Christmas." Suddenly I got it. The tips were not about me. They were about the giver and his values and his life. Unconsciously, I believed I had the right to decide the appropriateness of another's generosity when directed towards me. Such arrogance and ignorance, I accepted the money and deeply thanked him. We have a tendency to sort things out as humans. It's how we behave. And we have a tendency to be biased towards who we think has money, who we think's gifts are worthwhile enough to receive, who we don't want to put out by being nice to us. I'm telling you, you need to open your hearts to gifts. You need to open your hearts to gifts from unexpected places. Because when you receive gifts and you express your gratitude, your muscles for fighting that scarcity off grow, and your heart grows. One of the things and one of the places we can get a little bit stingy is with ourselves, especially if we perceive someone else has a need bigger than us. Oh, I can't go do blah, blah, blah because this person doesn't have anything. We build our resilience and our generosity by first being generous to ourselves. I'm not asking you to buy some car you don't want or like something flashy, but being generous to yourselves means taking care that you have space for the creativity we've been talking about. You have space to explore and think about the world. You take the time to reflect on not just what it felt like to give something, but what it felt like to receive something. And when you open up and you keep opening and you keep opening, suddenly everything is a gift. Imagine if every single day we started our day like that Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address. And we were primed to be grateful for what was in our world. How much easier would that have made it to share toilet paper during the pandemic? How much easier would that have made it to understand that people needed justice and access to health care because you had just that? How much easier would that have made it to wear a mask when you were feeling grumpy? What if wearing masks felt like you were being generous to other people and caring? What if getting boosters, the next time you get a COVID booster, if you can, what if that felt like you were giving back to this specific community to help us stay healthy together? Everything we do can be contextualized as generosity, taking care of ourselves, taking care of our neighbors. But I promise, when we lean into the practice of receiving gratefully and giving easily, all that scarcity loses its power over us. We start forgetting maybe there's not enough. We start remembering that we are better together. The story I told last week about the hunter, when the person that wasn't indigenous asked, like, what are you going to do with all this meat? Are you going to put it in the freezer? And the hunter said, why would I do that when I could fill the bellies of all the people around me? We have enough. When you start at we have enough, the sky becomes the limit, and the gifts lose their context of economics and scarcity and capitalism and blah, 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 blah. When we practice understanding when our scarcity shows up, it can be helpful too. One of the places my scarcity showed up to this very community was when my husband got sick. And it was really hard to know how to ask for help and how to receive help. Because around here, y'all will feed people almost to death, I just want to say. And you wanted to know what was going on, and I had to figure out a way to accept that gift and be part of everyone and not just keep saying, no, leave us alone, I don't want that. I talked to a colleague, like, how do I handle this? And she advised me to set up Caring Bridge where only my husband would communicate with everyone. And then here somebody set up a meal train, and I was like, I don't want food every day. Please. And it got limited to 2 times a week, and we had boundaries still. But you all kept us alive. And I could have easily said no. Asking for help, accepting generosity opens our hearts to learn and grow. I got so much more than just food from all of you. I got distant waves with masks across the porch. I got times to sit and visit outside. I didn't feel like I was alone. I promise the next time you're feeling like you're alone, question if scarcity has shown up for you. Figure out. And remember that we are battling it here, because look around. You're not alone. You're in a community of people who prioritize love, prioritize justice, prioritize generosity, and prioritize building beloved community right here and now, and not waiting for some distant heavenly shore where we might or might not show up, depending on what someone's told us. This is it. This is heaven. Welcome. Welcome into a season of true Thanksgiving. Be grateful for how fussy Aunt Esther is when she sets the table. Be grateful for a strange pumpkin pie that may or may not taste like you expected. You know the one. Because that's the other thing. But don't eat it if it's really gross. You gotta be nice to yourself too. You can pretend. Anyway, I'm sorry. Bad advice. You can still be grateful and take a pass. I have the glory of being allergic to everything, so I get to say no to a lot of food sometimes. I never thought of that as a gift until this very moment. Thank you all for taking me there. But when things are stressful, or you're dreading hanging out with folks, or you don't know what's going to happen next, open yourself up to the things that are going right in the room. Remember that you are not alone. There is a Thanksgiving meal here. And I want to say something very scandalous. Even if you don't have anything to bring, these folks want to feed you on Thanksgiving. This is a place where beloved community can happen, and it's not just on Sunday morning. This is a place that we feed each other, we nourish each other with music and art and social justice and all the gifts and creativity we bring. And that will fight scarcity every day. And that will open you to not just being grateful, but to being joyful. May it be so. We have a lot going on today, so that was maybe shorter than I intended, but I want to invite somebody I'm very grateful for, Sandy Kurtz, forward to help us with our social justice moment, and then to introduce us to our Donate the Plate today. So she has all kinds of roles. She's taking over. If you noticed the last few weeks, it's fine. It's fine with me. But thank you so much, Sandy.
You're quite welcome.
Oh.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Oh, well, okay, I'm going to go sit down.
This is the environmental month for social justice matters, and so I bring you today something about food, actually, and the idea of whether we have enough or not, as it turns out. I'm going to. Oh, I can do it, I think. Okay. I'm going to read to you from a book called Justice on Earth. And it is written, this essay is written by Peggy Clark. These are Unitarian Universalists speaking. When I buy bananas in New York, it's so easy to forget all the parts of the food chain that provide me that 19-cent banana. This was This may be more now. But forgetting doesn't absolve me of my accountability. I am accountable to the farm workers who pick those bananas, earning less than a living wage for one of 5 major corporations that harvest bananas for U.S. consumption. I'm accountable to the women who drop those bananas into vats of cancer-causing chemicals to slow the ripening. When I buy a banana for 19 cents, I'm accountable to those women when they get sick from those chemicals and have no health care. I'm accountable to the children they leave behind. I'm accountable to the workers who get those green bananas in boxes and those who drive the trucks. I'm accountable to the children in the neighborhoods those diesel trucks drive through each day on their way to deliver those bananas. I'm accountable for polluted air and the burning of fossil fuels and the carbon that is overheating the earth. I'm accountable to the trees that were felled, the habitats lost, the animals who died to clear land to make room for the supermarkets where I shop, and for the parking lot hundreds of cars drive into every day to buy those bananas. I'm not responsible for every piece of this system, but as part of the system, as the end goal of the system, which is to sell to the consumer, I am accountable for how food gets to my plate. You may not have thought of all those connections. We are truly connected to things, and we are part of the interdependent web of life. We know that. So that I got to thinking about that, and the term Gaia came to my mind. The Gaia hypothesis, I don't know if you all are familiar with it, but James Lovelock, scientist from England, he was born in 1919, and he lived to be 103. He came up with this hypothesis that the Earth is a self-regulating system of its own. We are part of it, but Gaia is really evolving, and we are moving along with it, but we are not exactly in charge. We're just part of it, and we are related to all the other parts of things that are going on. So here's a quote from James Lovelock. "Those who consider ourselves to be somehow involved in the birthing of a new age should discover Gaia as well. The idea of Gaia may facilitate the task of converting destructive human activities to constructive and cooperative behavior. It is an idea that deeply startles us, and in the process may help us as a species to make the necessary jump to planetary awareness." He was a futurist for sure. And you all, I want to say that we here in the U.S. are the biggest users of resources, and we actually are responsible for, we get it here, 2.7 global hectares, GHA, global hectares. That's about actually 2.4 acres. I don't think in hectares, and maybe you don't either. So that's our ecological footprint here in the U.S. That's how much land and resources it takes to support each one of us in the U.S. on average. Now, actually, what can the Earth sustain? 1.8 hectares. And here we are at 2.7 global hectares. We're overusing our carrying capacity that the Earth has. So this is a big problem. How do we get around that? Well, use less stuff, but the biggest footprint is really carbon dioxide on the planet from fossil fuels. So that tells us some things that we might do. I know we could have a long list of all the things that we could be doing, but I leave you with that thought. You can think about how you want to do that. You carry Mother Earth within you. She is not outside of you. Mother Earth is not just your environment. In that insight of interbeing, it is possible to have real communication with the Earth, which is the highest form of prayer. Thich Nhat Hanh. Thank you.
Oh, wait, can I tell you
Moving
one thing? I have something cool. So Peggy Clark that you just quoted,
Yeah.
remember how I'm always going on and on about the subject, consumer citizen thing? I've brought that up. She wrote that too. And she's the minister in New York. So I just thought that was cool. So I heard her talking about consumerism in that too. I just wanted to connect that dot.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you. And now, speaking of people that might need some help, I've introduced you to Bill Rush, who is the director of Metropolitan Ministries, and this is our Share the Plate Sunday. So be generous. Bill.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, man. And thank you all for letting me come up here today. Anytime I get the opportunity to speak, it's always something that I really take very, very to heart. And so I wanted to open with something we say at church right before our giving, and is that our hearts may be transformed. And about 2 years, a little over 2 years ago, I spent 36 years plus in the YMCA movement. I thought that was going to be like just on into retirement, but he kept moving me in a way saying, "You're not quite there yet, and you haven't taken the path that I need you to take." And the Metropolitan Ministries job came open, and someone called and said, "Can you imagine leaving the Y?" And so I really prayed about it and counseled with people about it, and it wasn't an easy journey to get to, but it was very fitting for that statement of our hearts may be transformed. And so changing jobs can be transformational. But also at the same time, a very good friend and pastor was losing his life to cancer. And so in the church, him and his wife still came up and taught, and they still communed while he's in this process. And it really hit me hard. And then at the same, it hit me hard in the sense of it really impacted my life, that in our most challenging moments, these folks were giving to everyone around them. They were being an example of how to love unconditionally. And to your point is, how do we receive that love from someone who is in a new day and a new dawn, an uncertain future a little bit in our way of thinking, but not in theirs? And I was really impacted by their testimony and their faithfulness to love people, and especially me. But this is the point I want to bring it to. There is a madness to my talking, I hope. Coming into MetMen's historically known for supporting those that have the greatest needs, whether it's to help prevent home evictions or utility disruptions or food. But now it's so much more than that. And we moved locations down to Rossville Boulevard, and we have a whole new level of service, and that is for those that are experiencing homelessness, addiction, and maybe experiencing mental illness. And let me tell you, this is where that has been the most moving to me, is that I keep asking, are you sure you got the right guy? Are you sure that you really, and I don't know that it's about anybody there, but what I've really been thinking is that I used to think I was pretty open-minded to all people. And they have welcomed me into their space. And let me tell you, it's a very trusted space that folks have when you don't have much. And you fight every moment for your life. And you're on guard 24/7. And the transformation of my heart has been that they give me space in their lives. And they give our staff. And so now we just sit with them and we talk to them, we listen to them, but we do try to provide services like sleeping bags and tents and bicycles and food and health care now that we have a clinic in our building. And the idea is to provide enough wraparound services. But the reminder, and thank you today for that, is that we need to also, and I try to do this, is to thank them for their time and for their trust in us, that they share their stories of their walks with. And that's where the transformation comes. The transformation comes when someone gives you something that's so unexpected, and that's of themselves. It's not a gift, it's not money, it's not anything other than the trust to share their deepest moments of life. And that has come, and it's a really challenging thing. We've had numerous within the community, people overdose, people who drove up with their people in their cars to help us to get them to revive them. A block away, they'll come running to come get us to come help. And to watch somebody take that breath again after they are turning blue is very powerful. And we've lost one recently and a couple of blocks away who OD'd last week. But this past week, I promise I'm sorry I'm long. This is how much this daily walk means to me, is that we really had a really difficult person that was coming there all the time. His dad would call me occasionally to check on him. He's around 30 years old. Lots of things that you could say you didn't want to be a part of, or that I didn't want to be a part of. But every day I just tried to be faithful. And I just encouraged our staff to be faithful, just to listen and to be there. You don't have to do anything, but you do have to listen. And so Wednesday, his thing kind of broke. And he called from someplace that he had held up and he had not used for about 48 hours, and he was hurting so bad. But I think because we received his gift of telling us stuff and not judging him and not putting him out, he made that call to say, I need your help, and I need it now. And he's now in rehab. He's expressed that he doesn't want to be homeless anymore. He doesn't want to be addicted anymore, and he wants a new way of life. And in doing so, his parents wanted to talk to me, and so I got to talk to his mom for the first time, and she shared with me that before all this, not far from where we are, he had once like the message. He would have been a pastor. They thought he was being called to that way. So you never know. Accept those gifts, no matter what they may be. Thank you for that. It's a great reminder of how not only is your heart transformed, but in giving the gift of trust, their hearts may be too. So thank you so much for letting me come here today. Appreciate it.
Two things. This facility is offering the only clean needle exchange in Chattanooga. All right, so this is what you're supporting. Number two, if you need Narcan or Plan B, we have it at this building, so if you ever want to have that with you, just so you know that that's here, it's important. And it's important to have those resources when we are doing the work that is the hardest to do. So I want you to know that this place is supporting that, and specifically, thank you for having the needle exchange, and thank you for being there when you can and can't revive people. I have a cousin who has an opioid addiction, and I know how important it is to have folks like this in our life, so thank you. The offering will be gratefully received. Sorry, I got a little emotional too. Please join me in our offertory response. We give these gifts freely, committed to our mission to care, create beloved community, awaken hearts and minds, resist injustice and act with compassion, embrace life and care for the earth. To this work, we dedicate our offerings. Oh, wait, did I lose my slide? I put things in the wrong order again. That's all right. There has to be at least one kerfuffle. So this is my favorite song. So I'm going to invite you all to rise in body and or spirit, and I am going to do something that takes a little courage on my part, and I want to lead us in singing this goofiness. You already see why. Taking anyone's job leading music, but I had to do it because the Spirit said do it. So there we go. Oh, see, that was the order I had out. All right. We're going to go back to Parker Palmer because he is just saying it so much better. Once again, in Let Your Life Speak. In the human world, abundance does not happen automatically. It is created when we have a sense to choose community, to come together to celebrate and share our common store. Whether the scarce resource is money, love, or power, the true law of life is that we generate more of whatever seems scarce by trusting its supply and passing it around. Authentic abundance is not found in secure stockpiles of food or cash or influence or affection, but in the belonging to a community where we can give those goods to others who need them and receive from others when we need. That's community. Community doesn't just create abundance. Community is abundance. If we could learn from this equation from the world of nature, the human world might be transformed. Community is abundance. And that was So What? And now it's time to extinguish our chalice. I want to invite my friends back forward. Come on, it's almost your time. So We're going to say the chalice extinguishing words together. And there's a little, this thing. Yeah, we've made a mess today. That's okay. We extinguish this flame, but keep the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with all the world. Oh, wait, stay. Stay.
Oh, we gotta get a garb on.
Oh, wait, they're not ready. Oh. Oh, they need their stuff. This is your cup. Gotta make my connection to the next flight. Who feels scarcity in an airport? I do. This is a brave, oh my goodness. Yes, 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 yes. Y'all need, oh my goodness. You need some microphones. I don't know if that one's on. It's on. It is? Okay.
Testing. Good, almost afternoon. Welcome to the Canary Airlines Flight to the Future. As we head off on our stewardship campaign, my name is Christine Hunt, and I'm going to be your stewardess on this journey. And I just wanted to say, after the announcements, we will be serving refreshments in the back of the plane. And to get us on our journey on this flight, I'd like to introduce our pilot, Tim Hunt.
Hello there. I got my except they can't see that.
I know, I told you. That's what you get for wearing cheap sunglasses.
Well then. Our plane, Canary, it's a big yellow plane. But it runs, it's an echo plane. It doesn't run on your normal jet fuel. It runs on laughter and music. So we're kind of promoting that along with the stewardship. Sometimes stewardship can get a little bit, I don't know how you would say it, dry, yes. When you, so we're bringing in maybe some different strokes this year that will allow that jet to get some fuel. So we need your help with that. But in any case, the kickoff here this morning has to do with some dates. We're quite early this year, and we're trying to get, of course, as much money as we can, but besides that, we're trying to get the pledges early before the budget. So therefore, we can budget once we know how much money's coming in. So that's the other important part of the stewardship. So in that regard, the people that get their pledges in the earliest get window seats in first class.
And free drinks.
Yeah, free drinks. So we plan on having a little, either digital or maybe even in the back, where you get to give me a picture. It could be the picture of your dog. I don't care what picture it is. We'll stick it on the plane. The first ones get into the front. But from the schedule-wise, November 19th is kickoff today. So today's kind of our kickoff. And about once a month, you're going to be hearing back from us to remind you. And March 15th is landing. So we'd like to have everybody all jazzed up by March 15th. April 2nd is the pledge deadline, and that gives us enough time to properly budget. One of the things that we're doing this year is we're having a contest. I put something in the back, I guess 2 weeks ago, but we're having a contest soliciting videos. Okay, that's our gas. Remember I said the gas, right? That's our eco-friendly gas. And the videos are spoken word, music, Christmas carols, anything that,
Whatever you want.
whatever you want it to be. And you can email it to the UU website, or you can email it to me, what have you. And that will actually go on the YouTube. So you'll get a little bit of
Fame.
yeah, a little bit of fame.
Go on the UUCC YouTube.
Yeah, right. And correct. Well, I have a video from, I guess, 2 years ago that Christine was singing. It was a Christmas. We actually won a kind of prize for it. Christine was singing. I had a buddy of mine playing guitar, and I was playing mandolin, and had a little bit of the drunkenness going on. And surprisingly, I think people like the drunkenness more than the musicality. But it was really fun, and we got a lot of comments. And even Dale comes over and he says, whenever I'm feeling down, and something's, in my life, I pull that thing up and I laugh, right? Well, that's the kind of thing. But even the spoken word, if it's a poem or something that we're really, any case. So that's our gas. And the other thing that I want to, kind of in the same gas realm, is I want to give you guys some song lyrics that may be apropos. Because our poetry, we are older people, and our poetry may be what we remember when we were young, and those lyrics in our head that we can leave, the service and be singing or whistling down the road. So I have one today, and it's from an old band called Jefferson Airplane. And they had a line in one of their songs. It says that no man is an island. He's a peninsula. And I'll leave you with that. Thank you.
Don't worry about it. We got in a discussion about what I got to be if he was the pilot. What am I?
Well, she is the air traffic
the
controller.
prize. I'm the air traffic controller.
Yeah,
there's an important prize for the best video. I think you all need to know
I forgot about the
now.
prize. Well, I'll tell you now. Okay. The prize of the best video or spoken word is a bobblehead of Mandy. We got
I've made the big time, y'all. There's gonna be a bobblehead. I called my mom and told her.
Mandy is the flight controller, and Dylan owns the airline and gives us, where we're gonna be flying to. I figure we're flying from Boston to L.A. Because Boston is our UU, central. And as Dave Logan says, please come to Boston.
And with that, I appreciate a community where somebody can call me half terrified to ask, is it okay to make a bobblehead of you? Yes, of course. Okay, enough of that. It's time for announcements. Let's make it as fast as we can. Lynn, you want to come up?
First announcement comes from the choir.
All right. Oh, my.
Okay, so we are going to be hosting. Let me just get where people can start. The choir is going to be hosting a holiday sing-along December 17 at 12:30, so after the service. Everybody is invited. Bring whatever music you want to sing. We can do it. The choir will be bringing food, snacks, refreshments afterwards, and any kind of holiday music that you want to bring, please bring it. If you want to bring an instrument so you can play along, bring that. We are going to have a preview. The choir is going to announce the sing-along via preview. So I will go to the piano and we will begin. Thanks to Charlotte for the lyrics of this song.
Oh, there is a microphone.
Hi, I'm Lynn.
No, here's
I
one.
am
Here's
the
one.
church board secretary. And
The microphone's coming from every direction. Here I come.
Announcement for our Thanksgiving dinner. It's November 23rd at 2 p.m. here in the sanctuary. Setup begins at 1 p.m. The sign-up sheets are on that big board in the lobby. Is that what we call it? Bring some dishes and beverages, the sign-up sheet, and bring your family and friends. We will also have games for the adults and children. Please don't miss it. And we have an announcement for RE.
Hello, I'm Sally, pronouns she, hers. I am on the board, the liaison for RE, and we are having next week a bake sale. It's gonna be awesome. So that is for one of our multi-generational services. We would love for you to sign up and bring some baked goods. Same board out in the lobby. We're encouraging everybody to make something that's delicious so we can all eat it. It's raising money for our youth and our teens and our kids to go to the mountain next year, which is going to be so awesome. Everyone has a great time every year that we do this. And make sure you bring cash. If you don't, we can always get it online, but bring some cash for your muffins and donuts, and it's going to be so good. Also completely unrelated, not this, but next Saturday is Maine by 24, December 2nd. It's a Saturday, and we are going to be in the parade, right? So join us, wear some rainbow colors, just wear whatever you're wearing. The parade starts at 10:30. They're asking us to be there earlier, I think 9 or 9. Oof. We'll still let you in if you get there a little after 9. Walk with us in the parade. It's going to be great fun. There's usually an elf. There's all sorts of fun stuff. There's always dogs in costumes. You want to be there.
Any other announcements?
everybody.
I'll make it quick. There's a social justice meeting at 12:30 after church. Join us. We're going to talk about all kinds of things.
Speaking of social justice, food is something we heard a lot about today. And we generally all have lots of food. 20% of this community does not have enough food. And that's something we'd like to help. So next Sunday, bring your food donations and we'll deliver it to the food bank the next day.
Our service has ended. May our service to each other and to the broader community begin.